Welcome to the Forbidden Library podcast. I'm your host, Ben Carter. Imagine a world where time slips away from our grasp, where eons pass in the blink of an eye. A world where kings reign not for decades, but for millennia. Where cities rise and fall over thousands of years, and history is measured not in centuries, but in epochs. This is the world of the Sumerians, an ancient civilization that stood at the dawn of recorded history. In the southerly reaches of Mesopotamia, nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the Sumerians constructed one of the world's first literate societies around 5,000 years ago. But their legacy extends far beyond their impressive city-states and advanced culture. It reaches deep into the realms of the ancient and the mysterious, of myths and legends, and of time itself. One artifact stands out in this context: the Sumerian King List, a peculiar document that has puzzled historians and archaeologists for centuries. This stone tablet, etched with cuneiform script, provides a chronological list of the rulers of Sumer, their reigns, and the locations of their rule. To the uninitiated, it may seem like a simple historical record. But as we delve deeper, we find that this is no ordinary list. The Sumerian King List merges historical figures, whose existence has been verified by archaeology, with mythical prehistoric kings who are said to have reigned for incredibly long periods. The earliest of these kings, it is claimed, ruled for tens of thousands of years. For example, Alulim, the first king of Eridu, and by extension the first king of all Sumer, is said to have ruled for an astounding 28,800 years. Yet this is not a fairy tale or a work of fiction. The Sumerians, who meticulously recorded everything from trade transactions to astronomical observations, treated this king list with the utmost seriousness. They believed that these impossibly long-lived kings were real, historical figures, and the lengthy reigns were not symbolic or metaphorical, but literal. This leaves us with a tantalizing question. How could these kings have reigned for such an astonishing length of time? Were the Sumerians simply exaggerating their history? Or were they recording an ancient era where time operated differently, an epoch lost to modern understanding? In other words, could the Sumerian King List be evidence of a kind of lost time? Unraveling the mystery of the Sumerian King List and the question of lost time will take us on a journey into the heart of one of the earliest civilizations, through myths and legends, history and archaeology, science and speculation. It's a journey through time itself, into the very depths of the past, where the lines between history and mythology blur. It's a journey that promises to challenge our understanding of human history, and perhaps, of time itself. To fully comprehend the mysteries of the Sumerian King List, we must first journey back in time to the birth of civilization in Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates. This cradle of civilization, now modern-day Iraq, was home to the Sumerians, one of the earliest urban societies in the world. The Sumerians emerged around 4,500 BC, and they were among the first to develop a system of writing, known as cuneiform. Sumerian society was well organized and technologically advanced. They invented the wheel, developed irrigation for agriculture, and built monumental architecture using mud bricks. Their cities, such as Uruk, and Eridu, were bustling centers of trade, culture, and religious worship. Central to Sumerian culture was their pantheon of gods and goddesses, who they believed played an active role in the daily affairs of the world. Each city had its own patron deity, and the king was seen as an intermediary between the gods and the people. The Sumerians believed in a cosmic order, where the gods had established kingship as a divine institution. The Sumerians weren't just skilled builders and traders, they were also master record keepers. They documented everything from trade deals to court proceedings, from astronomical observations to mythological tales, on clay tablets in their cuneiform script. It is within one of these meticulously kept records that we find the Sumerian King List. The King List is unique in that it attempts to chronicle the entire history of royal power in Sumer, from its divine inception to the time when the list was compiled. The list begins with the reign of mythical kings who ruled before a great flood, similar to the one described in the biblical narrative of Noah. These kings are said to have ruled for tens of thousands of years each. After the flood, the list continues with more plausible historical figures whose reigns are of a more believable length. The shift from mythic to historical kings isn't gradual, but abrupt. One moment, we're reading about a king who ruled for 28,800 years, and the next, we're dealing with reigns of mere decades. This marked shift, this break in time, is what fuels the speculation and mystery around the Sumerian King List. Could it be possible that the Sumerians were trying to record a time when time itself was different? Or is there another explanation hiding in the ancient cuneiform signs? As we delve deeper into the heart of Sumerian civilization, we'll attempt to uncover the truth behind these ancient records. The Sumerian King List, known in its native language as the Nam Lugal, meaning King List, is a unique document in several ways. It's not just a list of names and dates, but a narrative that weaves together myth, history, and theology in a single continuous thread. Crafted from clay and inscribed in the cuneiform script, this document records the reigns of kings stretching back to a time before a great deluge, an event echoed in various other ancient traditions, including the biblical tale of Noah's Ark. The list is not a single document, but a compilation of several clay tablets discovered in different cities across Sumer, including Nippur, Ur, and Isin. The most complete version, known as the Weld Blundell prism, was found in the ancient city of Larsa and dates back to around 1800 before the Common Era. The prism, named after the British antiquities collector who acquired it, is a small four-sided clay column inscribed with 2 columns of cuneiform text on each face. Remarkably, this ancient manuscript doesn't just list the names of kings. It also records the length of their reigns, the cities they ruled, and occasionally, significant events that occurred during their rule. The list begins with 8 kings who reigned for fantastically long periods, from 18,600 to 43,200 years, in the era before the Great Flood. After the flood, the list continues with more historically plausible figures, whose reigns span decades rather than millennia. The transition is stark, suggesting a clear demarcation between a time of gods and a time of men. This sudden shift sparks much of the mystery and speculation surrounding the king list. It begs the question, what exactly happened after the flood that resulted in such a drastic change? The King List, in its attempt to chronicle both divine and human history, blurs the line between myth and reality. It presents the reigns of gods and men on an equal footing, a narrative choice that reflects the Sumerians' view of kingship as a divine institution. In their cosmology, the kings served as intermediaries between humans and the gods, and their reigns were a reflection of the cosmic order. In many ways, the Sumerian King List is more than just a historical document. It's a testament to the Sumerians' complex understanding of time, history, and the divine. As we continue to explore this intriguing manuscript, we find ourselves immersed in a world where the boundaries between the divine and the mundane, the mythic and the historical, are fluid and intertwined. This ancient list invites us to question our own understanding of time and history, to probe the mysteries of the past, and to ponder the nature of reality itself. To truly understand the essence of the Sumerian King List, we must delve into its core contents and grapple with its most dangerous ideas. This ancient text is organized in a chronological order, with each king's reign marked by the length of their rule and the city they governed. The reigns of the first 8 kings, all hailing from 5 different cities, are measured in sars, a Sumerian unit of time equivalent to 3,600 years. This leads to dramatically long reigns, with the shortest being 18,600 years and the longest being an astounding 43,200 years. This first section, the antediluvian or pre-flood segment, is where we encounter the most profound and controversial idea of the King List, the existence of a vast, lost time period in human history. This is a time when kingship was said to have descended from heaven, and the rulers were beings of immense power and longevity, possibly even divine. This notion challenges our conventional understanding of human history and our place in the cosmos. Following the antediluvian rulers, the King List provides a record of post-flood kings who ruled for much shorter, more believable durations. The reigns of these kings are measured in years, not sars, and their reigns range from as short as a few years to as long as 120 years. This shift from divine to human rulership is a drastic change that casts new light on the Sumerians' perception of history. The King List's timeline, however, doesn't align with our current understanding of history. The reigns of the antediluvian kings, if taken literally, would push human civilization back several 100,000 years, far beyond the currently accepted time frame. This discrepancy raises the question, is the King List a literal historical record or a mythological narrative? This paradox between the King List's timeline and ours raises serious questions about the nature of time and our perception of history. Scholars have proposed numerous interpretations to reconcile this discrepancy. Some suggest the long reigns of the antediluvian kings are symbolic, representing the Sumerians' measure of a ruler's greatness or influence. Others propose that the sars might not represent literal years, but instead mark a different system of time measurement that we have yet to comprehend. Regardless of the interpretation, the Sumerian King List forces us to confront the limitations of our knowledge and to question our understanding of time, history, and reality. It presents the possibility of a forgotten epoch, a lost time buried deep within our past. This notion, while unsettling, is also a potent reminder of the vast mysteries that our history still holds and the truths that are yet to be uncovered. Before we delve further into the mysteries and interpretations of the Sumerian King List, let's turn our attention to its physical and historical authenticity. The Sumerian King List exists in several versions, all of which were copied from one another. The most complete version is known as the Weld-Blundell Prism, which resides in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, England. This prism is a small, hollow, four-sided clay object about 1 foot tall, inscribed with cuneiform script. The prism is dated to around 1800 BC, during the Isin dynasty, making it over 3,800 years old. The King List's authenticity as a physical artifact is largely undisputed. The cuneiform inscriptions, the clay medium, and the style are all consistent with other artifacts from the same period. The provenance of the Weld-Blundell prism is also well documented. It was discovered in the ruins of the ancient Sumerian city of Larsa in 1922 by a British archaeologist, Herbert Weld-Blundell, and it has been safely housed in the Ashmolean Museum since then. However, the historical authenticity of the King List is a subject of intense debate. The list contains a mix of both mythical and historical figures, which complicates its interpretation. Some kings on the list, such as Gilgamesh, are familiar from other ancient texts, while others are more obscure. The antediluvian kings, those who reigned before the Great Flood, are particularly enigmatic, as their extraordinarily long reigns challenge our understanding of human lifespan and history. The list is also oddly selective. It does not include every known Sumerian king or dynasty. Some are skipped over without explanation, while others are included seemingly out of chronological order. This selectivity suggests that the King List was not intended to be a comprehensive historical record, but rather a political tool, perhaps used to legitimize certain dynasties by linking them to divine predecessors. Furthermore, the King List does not stand alone. It belongs to a wider tradition of ancient Mesopotamian king lists, which also blend myth and history and have their own discrepancies and anomalies. This suggests that for the ancient Sumerians, the line between history and myth was not as rigid as it is for us today. In conclusion, while the Sumerian King List is a genuine artifact from ancient Sumer, its historical authenticity is more complex. It is not a straightforward record of kings and their reigns, but a complex blend of myth, history, and political propaganda. Whether we view it as a literal record, a mythological narrative, or something in between, the King List provides a fascinating window into the Sumerians' understanding of time, history, and kingship, and it continues to challenge our own perceptions of these concepts. While the Sumerian King List is a tangible artifact, an intriguing record of ancient Sumerian monarchs, there is a darker side to its existence and interpretation. For many years, the King List has been subject to a form of gatekeeping, censorship, and suppression that have prevented it from being fully understood or even accepted by mainstream academia. Let's consider the gatekeeping aspect first. Gatekeeping, in this context, refers to the control of information by an elite or authoritative body, effectively preventing or limiting public access to certain knowledge. In the case of the Sumerian King List, the gatekeepers are the academic institutions and scholars who have traditionally dictated what is considered legitimate history and what is deemed as myth or folklore. This gatekeeping has contributed to the dismissal of the extraordinarily long reigns of the antediluvian kings as mere mythology, rather than considering the possibility that they might reflect a different understanding or measurement of time. The censorship of the King List is closely tied to this gatekeeping. Censorship in this case does not mean that the list has been deliberately altered or redacted. Instead, it refers to the suppression of certain interpretations and perspectives. For instance, those who propose that the King List might contain coded information, or that the long reigns of the antediluvian kings might be literal rather than symbolic, have often been marginalized or dismissed as fringe theorists. Even more pervasive than the censorship is the suppression. Suppression, in this sense, means that the King List, despite its potential significance, has been largely ignored in mainstream historical narratives. It is rarely discussed in standard history textbooks or mainstream documentaries. Its selective nature, blending of myth and history, and the baffling longevity of the antediluvian kings, rather than sparking curiosity and further research, have often been used as reasons to dismiss it as unreliable and therefore insignificant. This combination of gatekeeping, censorship, and suppression has effectively kept the Sumerian King List on the margins of accepted history. Yet the very aspects of the King List that have led to its dismissal, its blend of myth and history, its unexplained anomalies, and its challenging of conventional understanding of time, make it a fascinating artifact that could potentially broaden our understanding of ancient Sumerian civilization and possibly even of human history itself. The Sumerian King List, like many other ancient texts and artifacts, invites us to question our understanding of history, time, and the nature of knowledge itself. It serves as a reminder that history is not just a record of facts, but a complex tapestry woven with threads of myth, politics, and human interpretation. Delving into the spiritual, occult, or mystical implications of the Sumerian King List, one cannot help but be drawn into a world of hidden meanings and suppressed interpretations. The list, with its account of kings reigning for thousands of years, invites us to reconsider our understanding of time itself. But what if these extraordinarily long reigns aren't merely a result of a different measurement of time? What if they represent something more profound, something that transcends the physical realm and ventures into the spiritual or mystical? The Sumerians, like many ancient civilizations, held a deeply spiritual view of the world. They believed in an array of gods and goddesses, each holding dominion over different aspects of life and the cosmos. The kings, as per their belief system, were seen as intermediaries between the gods and the people, divinely chosen to rule on earth. In this light, the reigns of the antediluvian kings could be seen not just as a literal span of time, but as a symbolic representation of their spiritual influence or divine authority. The idea of a king reigning for tens of thousands of years could signify an unbroken spiritual lineage, a divine mandate that is handed down from one king to the next, transcending the physical limitations of human lifespan. There are those who suggest that the King List might contain coded spiritual messages, obscured by layers of symbolism and metaphor. Each king and their reign could represent a spiritual principle or a divine lesson, encoded in the form of historical accounts. This line of thinking aligns with the occult principle of as above, so below, suggesting that earthly events are a reflection of higher spiritual realities. Moreover, in many mystical traditions, time is seen not as linear but cyclical or even multidimensional. The King List could thus be expressing a cyclical or non-linear understanding of time, where physical lifespans, dynastic reigns, and cosmic cycles intertwine in ways that challenge our modern, linear conception of history. The Sumerian King List, viewed from this perspective, becomes more than a historical document. It emerges as a spiritual text, a map of divine influence, a coded message from the ancients to the modern world. It stands as a powerful testament to the spiritual worldview of the Sumerians, an invitation to look beyond the literal and probe the deeper hidden meanings that lie beneath the surface of our history. Whether or not one subscribes to these interpretations, the Sumerian King List undeniably opens up a world of possibilities. It invites us to question, to explore, to seek out the hidden and the suppressed, and in doing so, to expand our understanding of not just history, but of existence itself. It is a testament to the human quest for meaning, the desire to reach beyond the physical and touch the divine. It invites us into a world where time is fluid, where the divine and the earthly intermingle, and where history becomes a gateway to deeper spiritual truths. The echoes of the Sumerian King List are not isolated to spiritual or historical realms. They reverberate into our modern media and subcultures as well, as seen in the proliferation of books, movies, and games that delve into the idea of lost civilizations, ancient wisdom, and the mystique of forgotten epics. Science fiction and fantasy literature often draw upon the themes inherent in the Sumerian King List, intertwining ancient lore with futuristic visions. It is not uncommon to find narratives that present ancient civilizations as technologically advanced or enlightened societies, their wisdom and knowledge lost to time, only to resurface in a contemporary context. This narrative thread can be traced back to the King List, with its depiction of kings who reigned for millennia, and the tantalizing suggestion of advanced ancient civilizations. One such example is the Dune series by Frank Herbert. In this epic saga, the longevity of the ruling class mirrors the seemingly impossible reigns recorded in the King List. The stipulation that time is nonlinear, cyclical, and multidimensional finds resonance in Herbert's universe, where time and space are manipulated by the prescient abilities of the protagonist. The influence of the Sumerian King List can also be observed in the realm of video games. The Assassin's Creed franchise, for instance, is deeply rooted in the concept of lost civilizations and suppressed histories. Players navigate through different historical epochs, tracing a hidden history that weaves through the narrative of our known past. The game echoes the themes of the King List, inviting players to question the nature of history and time, and to explore the forgotten corners of the past. In cinema, Christopher Nolan's film Interstellar toys with the concept of time dilation, where the passage of time can vary greatly depending on one's location in the universe. This could be seen as a modern scientific reflection of the King List's record of impossibly long reigns, offering a speculative explanation for the time discrepancies. In the realm of alternative history and conspiracy theories, the Sumerian King List often serves as a cornerstone. Theories of ancient astronauts, lost civilizations, and hidden knowledge draw heavily from the mysteries inherent in the King List. Websites, forums, and online communities dedicated to these topics abound, demonstrating a continued fascination with the enigmatic document. The endurance of the Sumerian King List in our modern media and subcultures is a testament to its enduring intrigue. Its seeming impossibilities and enigmatic nature continue to inspire, challenge, and fascinate, inviting us to look beyond the surface of our known history, to question, to probe, to dream. As we continue to delve into its mysteries, we might just find that the ancient Sumerians have more to teach us about our present and future than we could ever have imagined. Even within the realm of fringe theories, there are some interpretations of the Sumerian King List that stand out for their audacity and imaginative reach. These interpretations push the boundaries of conventional thinking, inviting us to explore the King List through the lens of science fiction, esotericism, and alternative history. One such interpretation is the ancient astronaut theory, which proposes that extraterrestrials visited Earth in antiquity and shaped our civilizations. Proponents of this theory often point to the King List and its seemingly impossible reign lengths as proof of alien intervention. They argue that the kingship descended from heaven could refer to extraterrestrial beings, and the long reigns could be explained by these beings' advanced lifespans or time perception. Another intriguing interpretation posits that the Sumerians had knowledge of quantum physics and the multiverse theory. This interpretation suggests that the Sumerians may have been aware of other dimensions or realities where time flows differently. The impossibly long reigns of the early kings could therefore be understood as the Sumerians' way of describing experiences in these other dimensions. Yet another theory proposes that the Sumerian King List is an encoded message, a cipher waiting to be cracked. Some theorists have tried to apply numerology, the study of the occult significance of numbers, to the King List. They believe that the specific numbers and sequences in the list could be a form of coded knowledge, preserving esoteric wisdom for future generations. Of course, these interpretations rest on considerable speculation and lack empirical evidence. Nonetheless, they demonstrate the rich array of possibilities that the Sumerian King List continues to inspire. They challenge preconceived notions about the boundaries of human knowledge and achievement, urging us to question, explore, and imagine. Whether or not these fringe theories hold any truth, they serve to remind us how much of our past is still shrouded in mystery. The Sumerian King List, with its enigmatic reigns and cryptic entries, continues to provoke wonder and curiosity, inviting us to delve deeper into the riddles of history and time. As we sift through the sands of our past, who knows what hidden truths and lost knowledge we might uncover? Indeed, the allure of the Sumerian King List lies not in the answers it gives, but in the questions it raises, the doors it opens, the paths it illuminates. It is a testament to the enduring power of mystery and the unquenchable human thirst for understanding. As we continue to explore its enigmas, one thing is certain: the Sumerian King List will continue to captivate and puzzle us for generations to come. As we bring our exploration of the Sumerian King List to a close, it's clear this ancient document holds a mirror up to our own understanding of time and history. It forces us to question not just what we know, but how we know it, and whether our understanding of the world is as complete as we like to think. The Sumerian King List, then, is more than a simple chronicle of rulers and their reigns. It's a thread that weaves together the fabric of our human story, a piece of a puzzle that, once deciphered, could reshape our perception of ancient civilizations and their understanding of the cosmos. The mystery of the Sumerian King List is not confined to the inscrutability of its early entries. Its very existence, its endurance through millennia, is a testament to the resilience of human knowledge and the power of written word. It stands as a silent sentinel, guarding secrets of a time that seems almost as alien to us as the farthest reaches of space. In our search for answers, we may find that the greatest revelations come not from the list itself, but from the questions it provokes. How did the Sumerians perceive time? What might they have known or understood that we, with all our technological advancements and scientific knowledge, still struggle to comprehend? Could these ancient people have glimpsed dimensions of reality that remain obscured to us, even in the 21st century? Some of these questions may never be answered. The Sumerian King List, and the enigma of lost time it represents, might forever remain a tantalizing mystery, a cipher beyond our deciphering. But it's precisely this enigma that fuels our curiosity, drives our quest for knowledge, and reminds us of the vast, uncharted territories of our own history waiting to be explored. So the next time you glance at a clock or watch, consider the Sumerian King List and the riddle of lost time it embodies. Remember that our understanding of time, like any aspect of our reality, is shaped by our perceptions, our knowledge, and our cultural context. Recognize that time, in all its complexity and mystery, is as much a construct of the human mind as it is a fundamental fabric of the universe. As we bid farewell to the Sumerian King List and its mysteries, we do so with a renewed sense of wonder and humility. We're left with a profound reminder that our journey through time and history is not a straight line, but a winding path filled with twists, turns, and tantalizing unknowns. A journey that, like the Sumerian King List itself, is far from over. Thanks for listening. This has been the Forbidden Library podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.